Elementary, my dear listeners. Elementary. Keep a straight face, keep a straight face. Welcome everybody to another episode of Use Your Difference. This is the place to be if you want to take your cultural awareness to the next level. So, what are we talking about today? Today's going to be a little different because we're doing something as a continuation of last week. So last week I talked about having to learn a language without actually going abroad. Now this week we've got one of my amazing friends, and she's also been on my podcast. If you listen to that will be in the link below. And she speaks 5 languages. So she decided to tell us some tips and some benefits on being multilingual. Her name is Lina Abisoghomyan, and as you can see from here, she's got a tremendous list of credentials. But without further ado, I'm going to let her take it and explain to you the benefits of being multilingual. Lina?
Hello and welcome. My name is Lina Abisoghomyan, and I am the founder and CEO of an online international relations journal called Policy Pair. And I'm here to talk to you today about the benefits of speaking multiple languages. So I myself actually speak 5 languages fluently. And so just speaking from my experience and my perspective about what I get from it, basically is what I'm going to be talking to you today about. So I think that the benefits of this, I thought about it, and I think it breaks down really into 3 main categories. I think I gain benefits culturally, personally, and actually medically, which I didn't realize until I was doing some reading and some research for this podcast. But so, culturally speaking, I think that speaking multiple languages helps you make better connections with people of other cultures. This is probably a really obvious one to most of you. Another thing is, once you do learn some of these languages, it's really easy to learn others. So, for example, Eastern European languages, I speak Russian. And that makes it really easy for me to understand, for example, Ukrainian, maybe even some Polish. I can recognize other languages, even if I can't totally understand or follow completely. I can at least recognize which language it is. Or like the Romance languages, for example, I speak French, which makes it really easy for me to understand, for example, Spanish and Italian. And I actually do have an interest in perhaps learning these languages someday. And that it makes me more confident in the fact that I could probably achieve that. Also, I think culturally, there are many things that are lost in translation, and this is a very popular motif, I think, in writing, in cultural discussions, and it's very important to highlight because so many things are just lost in translation. So many jokes and just puns, and then other serious things like stories, myths, folktales, history, I think, can even be lost in translation. Artifacts, cultural artifacts that perhaps require a cultural or linguistic knowledge. And I kind of want to go back to this point here to highlight that there is a delineation between language and culture, but I think that they really do go very much hand in hand. And I think that's really important to understand, that when you are learning a certain language, you are learning with it another culture. So it's really important to get that and kind of appreciate that and kind of look into what else there might be potentially that you could benefit from that. And then on a personal level, I think it makes you really a well-rounded person. And I found that in myself. It's brought out interests, and it's really, I mean, broadened my horizons in the sense that there's media that comes with each language that perhaps you can't access. Maybe you could find it translated, but that's really not the same. Stories, understandings, there are different topics, different famous people you can learn about in those languages, and just really interests that you wouldn't otherwise have. So, for example, in order to practice my Arabic, I watched lots of soap operas, and the soap operas that were currently available to me online and on YouTube were actually Turkish soap operas that were translated into Syrian Arabic. So I learned, the type of Arabic that I speak, which is the Levantine Arabic. But I also had a glimpse into a culture that I had no idea really about. I found similarities between it and myself, And I learned, for example, I watched Harem of the Sultan. I learned about harem culture. I learned more about the Ottoman Empire, more about Sultan Suleiman. And this all wouldn't have happened had I not been looking on YouTube for Arabic soap operas to practice my Arabic. Maybe I could have come across them in English or in another language at another point, but, this was an experience. I think it does make you also more independent, personally speaking. Independent in the sense that when you travel, you're self-subsistent and you are more confident, you can rely on yourself, but just more independent, really, to seek knowledge, to travel the world around you, to explore yourself, and it gives you more opportunities generally, all aspects of life and love and work and just in everything, speaking another language is always something that brings about new doors that you can open for yourself, really, with pursuing a new language. And I think it also does make you more inquisitive and knowledgeable. I think just learning the culture that comes with that language, as I talked about before, being more interested in the culture behind that language, and, everything that comes with it. And medically, I thought this was actually interesting that I was reading about. It actually improves brain function because it connects your neurons in new and different ways. There's actually a 2012 study by the University of California, San Diego, and it showed that it actually prevents against early onset Alzheimer's, which, granted, it doesn't, prevent Alzheimer's completely, but it definitely kind of deters those effects because your brain is so used to working and the neurons are so active in your mind. And that makes sense to me. Granted, I can't really vouch for the validity, but I thought that was very interesting and very cool. And it also creates a better working memory. This I can actually attest to. Just switching back and forth between these languages, I can attest to the fact that it really kind of keeps me on my toes and makes me think. I can just feel the gears kind of turning, and I've gotten better at it over time, so obviously it takes a little bit less effort, but that's not to say it takes no effort. And so I think that's also really important. So those are just some of the reasons that I thought of that language is important to me and should be really important to other global nomads. Learning languages is great, it's important, it's wonderful, there's really no downside, and yeah, learn more languages.
Why, thank you, Lina. Open your eyes. Okay. That was Lina talking about the benefits of being multilingual. So I hope you enjoyed the episode. I'm going to put some links to, the podcast episode with her as well as her amazing website. So you can check that out in the description box below. But as always, please reach out to me whenever you want to. I'm at Rockson everywhere. Hit the like and subscribe button. Let me know your thoughts. What are some benefits that you've had being multilingual, bilingual, or being a polyglot? And have you started applying the tips that I said last week? So, want to catch last week's video on how to learn a language without traveling abroad? Click here, hit the subscribe button anywhere else. Till next week, use your difference to make a difference.